I know the leagues. I know the teams. I know these players. I know this wonderful game called football.
Welcome to the Money Line presented by Pro Football Debate. I'm Brian, joined by Drakes, and we're here every week for all of your NFL betting content. Today's a big day, but before we really get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to Bet Openly, the official sportsbook of the Money Line. Bet Openly is one of the only peer-to-peer sportsbooks out there that only takes 1% juice and has already saved users over $5 million. So please be sure to check them out at betopenly.com. Now that we got business out of the way, the circuit entries are submitted. I think we got about 6 survivor entries between us both that pays a first place of $250,000 or plus. The fantasy lineups are set and the pick'ems are in full swing. It is officially week 1 in the NFL. Talk to me, Drakes. How are we feeling?
Feeling great. Cashed in on the DraftKings up 7 promo with the Lions taking an early lead. And then I have Chiefs full game in a pick'em at -4 or 4.5. So I think they had a 14-7 lead at halftime. See if that can hold up. But yeah, feeling great. Looking forward to the rest of the week and getting into these games. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I mean, getting the win right off the gate, the fake punt in territory, in their own territory on the 20. How are you feeling on that one? Talk me through that a little bit.
Dan Campbell gets away with everything. And this team,
Everything.
Yeah, I give them credit for their execution. Kudos to them for picking up the first down and moving the ball downfield. Yeah, it's just what Dan Campbell does. And sooner or later, I feel like it's going to bite him, but so far it hasn't, and it's fun to see.
Get the wheelbarrow out, huh?
Yeah,
he's dragging them right now. All right. Yeah. Well, with that said, I think let's get right into it. Again, guys, basically what we're going to do here is just kind of run down the board. What we're talking about is just giving you kind of what we see, maybe a couple leans. We're going to give out a couple picks at the end that we do like. But for the time being, like I said, we're going to run the games here and just make sure that everybody's understanding of what we're seeing and maybe you catch something that you didn't and kind of let us do the research for you. But right out of the gate, let's get into it. We got a divisional game. You got Carolina, Atlanta. Atlanta leading the 3.5, minus $1.80 on the money line, and a total of 39.5. Anything stick out there?
A few things. I really like Atlanta in the spot. The hook, if you can get it down to 3, that's perfect. I'm personally probably going to lay the 3.5. Divisional dogs I know are pretty good ATS, especially early on in the season. I think batting around 64% ATS in the last 5 or 6 years. On the flip side, I think Atlanta has, the ability to run the football, control tempo with Robinson, their draft pick early in the first round, Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier. And then their defensive line, I think, is maybe a bit underrated, being able to contain Carolina a little bit and then also force Bryce Young into some mistakes maybe. I know rookie quarterbacks, or I shouldn't say rookie quarterbacks, but quarterbacks taken first overall are 719 ATS since 2005, maybe something like that. So give me the Falcons here. I know, again, divisional rival, but I like the Falcons laying the 3.5. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you about 90% of the way. A lot of hype on Bijan. Going to the season, he was actually taken really early on. Some of the fantasies that I was in. So I'm interested to see how he does. I do love that stat on the first overalls. So I do lean Atlanta here. A couple things. One, depending on the price, I'm not a huge advocate of buying down, but depending on where it closes, where we see kind of some of the money maybe falling come Sunday morning, if it's still 3.5 and I can get 3 at maybe like a $1.20, $1.30, I'd still probably entertain that. Sure. I also like them at -180. Not a bad parlay piece either. Don't get crazy. Don't make it your last leg. That you plug in there. One of the first games, but no, I think decent parlay piece, but I do lean them probably minus points. I would just look for maybe a 3 if you can, maybe shop a little bit around that one.
The only thing that I don't like is the low total and the spread being 3.5. Typically in that spot, we're known. Yeah, we take the dog with the points when totals are under 40, 42 points. So something to keep an eye on. But I do like Atlanta in that game.
Yeah, like I said, that overall stat just kind of that trend sticks out to me but pretty boldly. So I do lean there. Moving on, we're going to stay with the divisional game. In-state rivalry, we got Cincy, Cleveland. Cincy minus the 2.5, minus $1.35 on the money line, and a total of 47.5.
Yeah, this is a stay away from me. The line seems weird. You feel like Cincinnati should probably be favored by more with the way that Deshaun looked last year coming back. And I know it's preseason, but haven't seen greatness out of Cleveland. Nick Chubb is for sure an X factor, but I stay away. I weirdly would probably take the Browns with the points just because the line makes no sense. I know Burrow practiced in full this week. He'll be ready to go come Sunday. Signed a huge contract, so he's feeling good. But it's a stay away for me. Cincinnati still has a decent, or I guess less than average, offensive line. So hopefully they're able to protect Burrow for the season. But right here, right now, I feel like Cleveland with the points might be the play. Since he lost last year to Pittsburgh, I think in overtime week 1, they traditionally have started slower the last few years and then pick it up at the end of the year. But they're a ridiculous ATS team. I think they're 19-5-1 last 25 games. So stay away from me. Sit back and probably just watch that game on Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at with it. Kind of the in-state rivalry thing. Cleveland had that big game on Halloween last year where they beat them outright. And I really have no interest in trying to force a play here this early in the year. And again, that line does seem odd considering we did see that Burrow from what he said, I'm good to go, signs his contract, and the line really hasn't moved. So I'm okay right there, kind of a stay away. So 100% there. I agree with you. Again, we're going to stay with divisional games here. Jacksonville laying the 5.5, minus 220 on the money line. So pretty big size favorite there. And we got a total of 45.
Yeah. I think most recent line we're seeing is maybe around 4.5 or 5, depending on the book.
Okay. Yep.
I lean Jacksonville. I just think they have so many weapons offensively now. Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk,
big piece
Zay
coming
Jones.
back.
Yeah. Etienne. And they looked really good last year, especially later in the season. And I question, Indy's defense and also Indy's ability to move the ball. I know Anthony Richardson is going to run for yards, and he'll probably pass for a good amount of yards as well. But I just feel like they don't have the playmakers to keep up with Jacksonville's offense. I laid the 4.5 here with Jacksonville.
Yeah, same. And I don't know the exact number, but I know that Indy is absolutely abysmal on week 1s. We found out the hard way last year. So I think I have to look at the exact data on that. But no, I'm definitely riding that one. I would take Jayville minus.
Yeah. So since 2017, they're 0-5-1 ATS week 1, failing to cover by an average of 12 points.
Yeah. So you give me a fresh QB, fresh head coach. I don't see that really changing there. So I'm with you. You said where we're at right now, 4.5, 5?
4.5. Yeah.
4.5. Yeah. I'm all over at 4.5. So I do like that right there. Any interest in a total there, or kind of just the unknown with Richardson? Obviously with Indy's ability to not really come out firing. I think the kid has talent, but I just don't know how comfortable he's going to be and how poised he's going to be back there.
Yeah, ridiculous athlete. He'll make explosive plays. He'll be on SportsCenter, but from a betting perspective, I got to see him do it for a couple weeks and see what that offense looks like.
100%. Okay, game me and you really haven't touched on all week. Mini and Tampa. So Mini laying the 6.5, almost a full touchdown from what we're seeing. Obviously, our lines are going to be a couple days behind. Minus 255, so a huge money line favorite. The total we're sitting at 45.5. Is there any edge there with the most overrated 13 win team of all time? If you ask, half the NFC North fans.
Yeah. This is another weird line for me. The 5.5 is always a strange number when it comes to a spread. Minnesota, I feel like, should be similar to what they were last year offensively. I know Dalvin Cook's a New York Jet now. Alexander Madison's kind of lead back. Still have Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. He's Kirk Cousins. He'll dazzle you a little bit, but also let you down in a number of spots too. And then defensively, I can't imagine they're any worse than they were last year. They were 27th defensive DVOA last year. If I had to pick a bet on this game, it would probably be the over 45.5. I think Minnesota should be able to score 25 to 30 points easily. And then you need Tampa to keep up with 2021. And against this defense, I think they should be able to do that.
Yeah, and give Baker credit. I'm not going to sit there and say he's a fantastic quarterback by any means, but he does try hard, and he's gonna give you everything on every drive. So I do think they find the scoreboard there a little bit, and then I just think ultimately though Mini kind of takes over, runs away. And I did like that total. That was something that stuck out to me. That was a play that I liked earlier in the week. Moving on, I think we're both on this one. This should be pretty good because we're ready to get hurt again. But Tennessee plus the 3.5 against New Orleans. Tennessee plus 150 on the money line, New Orleans minus 175, and a total of 41.
Yeah.
Again, one word sticks out to me. Vrabel, just an animal.
Yeah, 24-12 ATS as a dog, including 15-7 as a road dog. I think Tennessee's defense will be able to hang. I question their ability to move the ball on offense, but this could be a dogfight type game. And give me the dog Titans plus 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and we looked at another one of those low totals too. So you're looking at taking the points. Again, you're looking at a head coach that has an outstanding track record of a dog at 3.5 or under. I would be okay, and even with like a half unit money line sprinkle here at plus 150, I think that's quite a bit of value on Tennessee, who is still going to contend for their division no matter how you want to look at it. So
for sure.
Moving on, a lot of people calling this one the game of the week. This one should definitely be interesting. Bosa signed his contract yesterday, and we got San Francisco laying the 2.5, minus 130 on the money line, and a total of 41. Where are you at?
Yeah, this is a game I like Pittsburgh plus the points at home. They are 6-1. They were 6-1 ATS after Thanksgiving last year. Tomlin 51-27-3 ATS as a dog. They were 8-2 ATS last year with TJ Watt. He's in the lineup come Sunday. Meanwhile, the 49ers 1-5 ATS under Shanahan in week 1. I do like Pittsburgh at home here. Give me the dog plus the points. I'm going to be on money line as well.
Okay, so this is one where we're actually going to go against each other. I actually like Tomlin as a coach. He's been a cover machine, especially for us in the contest. We've rode the coattails there a couple times, and it's panned out well, 100%. Watt in the lineup, again, is something that we looked at come contest and has panned out for us. However, there was heavy money coming in on Pittsburgh early in the week. I'm going to throw the trends out the window. I'm going to kind of fade the public here, at least on the early money. Now with Bosa signing, maybe that does change. But as it sits right now, I'm actually willing to take San Fran.
Okay, more than fair.
Yeah. The next game, I don't even know if you want to even talk about it. We could just throw it out the window if you want. But Arizona, the line I'm getting is 7.5 plus 260 and over of 38. So if you're awake for this one, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, absolutely not. Arizona's a mess. Washington rookie quarterback Ron Rivera, said this week or last week he didn't realize how good Sam Howell was while they were in a playoff push last year. I'm staying away. I don't know what to expect from either of these teams. I mean, I expect Washington to maybe 5-6 wins, and Arizona less than that. Arizona probably the worst team in football. I can't touch this game. I don't know if 7's enough or not. So staying away.
Yeah, that's a game that I really don't even have interest in. I hate to say it because most games I at least like to find something, but there's just nothing there. There's too many unknowns. I'm not going to force anything on that, and I'm with you there. Yep. I think we're both here. Earliest line, I'm seeing 10.5 now. Baltimore laying the 10.5 minus 500. Easily the biggest favorite of the week. The total 43. Yep. I think it's down to 10 from what we've seen, or you can get it in spots at 10. I think we're both on Baltimore here as far as I know, or at least I am. I know we talked earlier in the week. I don't know if anything's changed, but the Ravens I think it's a week 1 stat or a double-digit stat, but there's some data there to back that up as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Ravens 6-1 ATS last 7 week 1 games, covering by almost 23 points per game. They're ridiculous week 1. What scares me is watching them in the preseason and following their 24 or 25 game preseason win streak. What was worrisome was the defense, just being able to stop people. I know like later in the game, second string guys, third string guys trying to make the team, but just schematically letting up a lot of big plays and letting teams hang around. I do feel like Houston will be improved. New head coach. I think he'll have a defense that is top half of the league, if not better. He'll get the most out of his guys defensively. It's just a matter whether or not Stroud can put up some points on offense. And Dameon Pierce, he's underrated, but he's a good back. And
yeah, I agree.
I think, the line in our circuit contest is 10, which I think is like the perfect number. If it was 9.5, I would lean Baltimore. If it was 10.5, I might take Houston. So this is a game that, I personally might stay away from, but I could definitely see laying the points of Baltimore, no problem. I think they're going to be a super popular survivor pick as well.
Yeah, 100%. And looking at the survivor, I know we're kind of going to pull ahead of ourselves here, but kind of the one play that was glaring. I mean, if you want to go with we have a couple rules I think we'll get into when we start touching survivor. One is stay away from the biggest point spread. But given the board this week, I'm not willing to put my money on Washington. Like, forget that. So I do think it's Baltimore. But again, I think the 10's a nice number. I do think that Houston is going to probably, I want to say surprise me. That's not the right word, but I think they're going to win some games that they shouldn't win. But I think it's going to be later on in the year. So I think week 1 with their offense, maybe I'm seeing a slow start. I like Baltimore here, to kind of put a pounding on them. And I think it's a good, you mentioned their defense kind of struggling. I think it's a good kind of game to get it right, get a little bit of confidence for them. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see if we can catch a nice number on Houston week 2 though, or later on down the road, depending on how they start.
Sure. No, good call.
Yep. So now we got Green Bay, Chicago, NFC North. Again, kind of a little bit of unknown here with Love coming in, but Green Bay getting 1.5 points. I think it opened up at 2.5. And I did see Green Bay dogged on the money line. Right now, they're minus $1.05, and we got a total at 43. Anything stick out there that you want to talk about?
I gotta wait to play this game. We have seen movement, with Green Bay coming down from plus 2.5 to now close to a pick 'em. Christian Watson, I don't know his injury status. Bakhtiari is also banged up a little bit, so I gotta wait and see what the reports are Sunday morning before I lock in any sort of wager on this game. I definitely lean Green Bay just because I feel like there's a ton of hype on Chicago, and I think Green Bay should be able to hang around and pull the upset as a slight dog. But yeah, I gotta wait to see what injury report comes through on Sunday morning. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Right now, though, I actually don't mind Green Bay on the money line for a couple reasons. One, on paper, their defense should perform a lot better than they did last year. So I think this is definitely a season where they have to start firing on all cylinders. I also think that LaFleur is a little bit, maybe a seat's warm if you want. Losing Rodgers, obviously, there's going to be a lot of focus on him. I think Love actually will turn some heads. Everybody kind of was dogging Rodgers before he jumped in after the Favre thing, and kind of look what happened. So I do think Love is going to be able to do enough to win this football game. And sure. Anytime it's a divisional game, kind of this close, it basically is a pick 'em. I just like Green Bay having a little better defense. And dude, I like Fields. I think he's talented. He's an athlete. He can run for days, but I think they do enough to contain him. And if they contain him, then I think Green Bay can get it done. So I lean money line there. But at minus 105, if I can get the points there, I'd probably take the 1.5 just in case it's a little bit closer than needed.
Okay.
Moving on here, kind of an out of team, but we got we got Denver, Las Vegas. Denver minus 3.5, minus 185 on the money line, and we have the total of 44.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect in this game. I would probably lean the Raiders plus 4, 3.5, whatever the number is. I just don't know what to expect from Denver. The Raiders, same thing. It's a game should stay away from. But yeah, it's divisional game, so I'm leaning towards the dog with the points. What will Russell Wilson do? Like, is he going to be the quarterback that we saw last year? I can't imagine he's worse.
Get sacked on third down.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Where are you standing?
I don't know if there's a ton of value on the Denver money line. I think more or less it would be a stay away just because, again, I don't know what you're going to get. You're not. Do we get Seattle Russ or do we get last year's Russ who had 10 touchdowns in week 15? Like I don't know what we're going to get. Jimmy G. I also don't know what we're going to see out of him in Vegas. I think he had a good situation with San Francisco because he had such a sound team, a lot of depth. In Las Vegas, I think he's got to be a little more of a quarterback than a game manager. So I'm kind of curious to see how it is. Probably a stay away from me. I don't. Maybe if you could catch that one live, I might float the idea of Denver. If Las Vegas goes up, maybe a field goal. or a TD. It might float the idea of Denver depending on what the price comes down to. But
Okay.
I'm not going to force that play because I just don't see any value there.
Fair. I agree.
Philly, New England. Philly minus 190, New England plus the 165, favored by 4.5, and the total sitting at even 45.
Yeah, I don't really have a play here. The money or the spread, is super weird. You would think that Philly coming off a Super Bowl loss, dominated pretty much the entire year. I know their schedule wasn't the toughest, but still a good football team, great defense, improved in the draft with Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Offensively, as good as anybody in football. Jalen Hurts is an X factor. He can run wild. Running back system, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
Now,
so
Swift too.
And DeAndre Swift. They'll be able to move the ball. The 3.5 line or 4, wherever it is right now, seems odd. So I'm inclined to stay away. I would probably play under. I feel like Belichick will have a game plan to kind of try to neutralize the Philly offense by keeping his offense on the field, run the football. Yeah, so I would lean under, but I'm not touching the spread.
Yeah, same. I mean, if you asked me before this came out to kind of handicap this game, I probably would have been close to 6.5, 7. I mean, you're talking about, a New England team that was picked to finish basically last in their division against, a Super Bowl team from last year. So I probably would put that 6.5, 7. So seeing that 4.5, kind of weird. The money's not really telling us anything. I don't see any sharp money on that from last I checked. So I agree. It's kind of stay away, but I probably would lean the under though if I had to make a play on that. Just like you said, we're gonna see Belichick probably keep Jalen off the field. And also I think Philly drafted real well. I think we're gonna see Philly contain them too, and the ball should stay in the middle of the field. Barring some big plays, but I agree there. I'm not going to force that one either. And again, guys, this is week 1, so you're going to see us kind of laying off on probably more than like we would, but it's hard to get a read. And I'm not a huge fan of trying to go, every game off past trends. There are some that are going to stick out, but I'm not going to sit there and force a play if I don't see it. Sure. Miami and the Chargers. I think this one's down to 3. We're showing 3.5 here. Chargers favored minus 160. The total at 51.5.
Yeah, I'm on LA minus 3 for sure. I feel like with Kellen Moore now calling the plays and the weapons that Justin Herbert has, should be able to air it out a little bit more. Wide receivers are healthy. Keenan Allen's back. Mike Williams is back. Drafted Quentin Johnston. Eckler, of course, is just a touchdown machine. And they were able to just, get into Miami's scheme last year and shut them down. So not that there's necessarily carry over year, but I do like the Chargers at home in this spot.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. Especially on the 3, I love it. I'm holding a Herbert MVP ticket at 10-1. I think he has a big year. I think it's down to 9-1 or 9.5-1 right now. So a little bit of value there. I got it earlier, probably. I think it was right after the draft or second day of the draft. But I do like Kellen Moore. I think he's going to be very creative. Herbert last year threw the ball second most in the NFL. So I think you're going to see him air it out a lot. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I think if they get up being at home, it's going to be a huge confidence builder. And they have potential to turn that into a pretty big win right there. So I love that. The 3, 3.5. I'd probably still lay that. But I also don't mind, the $1.60 on the money line either. I think there's actually some value there.
Sure. And just like you, I have Brandon Staley, Coach of the Year, I think at 45-1. And then I have Chargers win Super Bowl at 30-1. So we're in the same corner there. And then, Miami's defense, 25th last year in pass DVOA. So it could be an air raid for Herbert and the team.
Yeah, and if it's going to be a shootout, I love Herbert, and I think he's a very talented QB. And I'm going to take Justin there. Rams plus 5.5. We got word that Kupp was he's out. Now I read earlier it could be nerve. Who knows how long he's actually going to be out for? But we know Sunday he's not playing. Plus 205 on the money line. So Seattle minus 245. We have a total of 45.5.
Yep. I lean Rams here plus the points. It seems really odd, but McVay has done a really good job against the spread against Pete Carroll in his career. Last year, Seattle won both head-to-head meetings. However, they failed to cover both times. The Rams were able to either backdoor or stay competitive in the games, and the games between these two teams are always close. I'm going to take the Rams plus 5.5. Yep,
I'm right there with you. I like McVay to cover. I like him to figure out at least a way to make up for the Cup loss. So 100%, man, I'm with you. I definitely lean the Rams 5.5. Now, my most favorite play of the week.
For sure.
But again, though, like looking at that, I would definitely, I would put a unit on that. No problem. Not think twice about it.
Okay.
Next, we got Sunday night, big game. This should be, if anything, fun to watch. We got Dallas, the Giants plus 3.5, plus 145 in the money line. We got a total right now sitting at 46.5. And we got Dallas at minus 165 on the side.
Yeah, this is a game I'm probably going to stay away from. I think Dallas's offense is going to be pretty high tempo. I've read a lot about how they want to open it up a little bit more, get the ball in Dak's hands more. This is probably the best wide receiving core he's had in a long time, if not ever, with CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, Brandon Cooks. Curious to see how much they utilize Tony Pollard and Deuce Vaughn a little bit. But then the Giants, like, they were a team last year that you didn't think should have been in the fight that they were in, and they found ways to win games week over week, and they found ways to compete in games that you didn't think they should be competing in. They're a team that won a playoff game last year, and head coach has done a great job in changing that culture and making the team believe. And Saquon Barkley, of course, is an X factor every time he steps on the field.
Yep.
Probably going to stay away. Would lean division dog with the points, but a game that I'll probably hopefully we're celebrating a 4-1 or 5-0 circa card and just sit back and watch it.
Yeah, kind of where I'm at. I lean the Giants. If it's divisional, given that's kind of a heated rivalry with those two, I would lean Giants taking the points here. I am curious to see Dak, though, without Zeke. I feel like there's not that need to maybe feed him the ball. He was such a huge investment for that team, for Jerry Jones. I think you might maybe see a little more creativity out of that playbook. See, like you said, get the ball in Dak's hands a little more and not feel the need to get Zeke involved. So I'm curious to see how Dallas comes out. But if I'm going to make a play here, I definitely lean the Giants plus the 3.5. Takes us to Monday night, last game of the week. We got Buffalo minus 2.5, minus 145 in the money line. We got the Tolson at 46.5 against the new Jets here. The Aaron Rodgers era is beginning.
Yeah, I lean the Jets here. I think there's still somewhat of a contrarian play. I know, like, they're the sexy pick right now with the defense they had last year, Aaron Rodgers coming in, the weapons they have offensively. I still think it's somewhat of a contrarian play. I think the public is heavily on the Bills. And then, I have a stat here where since 2018, Monday Night Football home teams in weeks 1 to 4 are 14-6 ATS, covering by almost 12 points per game. I'm on Jets plus 2.5, sprinkling Jets money line. Where are you at?
No, I'm on the Jets. I saw big money on Buffalo early in the week. I'm going contrarian here. I'm going to go. I don't want to call it the conspiracy, so don't jump on me, guys, here. But I'm going to go with the storyline of Aaron Rodgers coming in and getting it done. So I'm with you. I like the unit maybe on the money line as well. I think the Jets defense is one phenomenal. We saw them shut down Buffalo last year as a 10-point dog. So I do think that Rodgers will be the X factor. If anything, he's going to control that offense a lot more than we saw last year with Wilson and White. So nope, I'm with you on that one, and I do like the Jets as a dog both sides.
Yeah, I think I'm in a spot where I'm fading the Bills this year. I don't have them winning that division, and I'm looking at spots. I'm looking at spots just throughout the year where I think they have letdown spots, and I'm not a huge Bills backer this year.
Sure. Okay, so let's get right to it. Give me something you like that you want to give to the people at home.
Yeah, I think my most confident plays, if you will, Falcons minus 3.5. That's one I really like. I also like Titans plus 3 or 3.5, depending on the number you can get. We'll leave it at those two for now. Those are probably two of the more confident plays I have. I'll throw the Steelers in there too. Give me the Steelers plus 2 or 2.5 at home. If you want to play the money line, go ahead. But yeah, I like those three.
Well, I wasn't gonna, but I'll lay with San Fran. I'll take the 2.5 on San Fran just to go against you there. So I'm gonna take San Fran. Yeah, I'm gonna take San Fran. One of us is gonna get on the board early this year. And I'm gonna catch heat for this because if you know me, everybody that's watching this, I'm not a parlay guy. I'm not into that sort of thing. I just not my thing. However, Philly and LA, the Chargers on a money line. When you take those together, you're looking at plus $1.50. I like those outright winners. I don't want to say it's low risk because that, like I said, both lines are kind of but I'm going to take that as a plus like I think 146 last I saw, depending on where it's going to close at. And then I was going to take Green Bay, but in the spirit of having some fun here, I'm going to take San Fran and go against you.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to
yeah.
the
So let's talk on survivors just real quick. I'm going to play Baltimore. I just don't see anything else there.
Yeah, it depends on how your survivor's set up. If you're in one where you can pick the same team, week over week if you wanted to, that's one thing. I think Baltimore might have some more value in other weeks. I'm leaning Minnesota. I know I talked about Tampa and them being able to, maybe cover the spread, but I still think Minnesota should get at least, 3 to 6 point win. I'm leaning Minnesota. Baltimore is definitely a play for me in a survivor where you can pick the same team multiple times. But yeah, there's not a ton on the board that I like. It's just this week one, the first couple weeks of the year, it's just survive in advance. I feel like
that's exactly where I was going with it.
Plan as much as you can, but I think Jacksonville will be a super popular pick just with how bad Indy is, projected to be. Washington is a popular pick with how bad Arizona is projected to be. So be careful. Don't overthink it, I guess. But yeah, at the same time, you want to make sure you advance to week 2.
Yeah, and I hear a ton when I talk Survivor. The first thing that comes out is usually like, well, I just want to fade. I'm gonna fade the bad teams. That's great, but in Survivor, I think 3 years ago, when the Jets were really struggling, they dethroned LA Rams there, and huge upset. I think they were winless up until week whatever it was, 12, 13, 14, and it bounced out in my Survivor at least. I had somebody else going, so I moved on to get bounced out the next week. But I did move on there and was able to kind of avoid that. So I don't want people getting in the trap there. If you want to go over some of the rules that you've seen for Survivor 2, I know I'll lay out right now is, you want to stay away from this is just be terrible, but you want to stay away from the biggest spreads of the week. Baltimore falls in that. I'm willing to break the rules week 1 to survive in advance. But I know that was one of them. We talked, if you want to touch on maybe, 1 or 2 more that you see that have been helpful in the past.
Yeah. Divisional games are ones that I try to stay away from survivor wise, and also primetime games. Yeah. I feel like primetime games, no matter who the opponents are, whether it be Thursday, Sunday, or Monday night, the game always seems to be somewhat competitive. And that's just kind of games I stay away from personally.
Yeah, love it. I got nothing else. Should be a good week. Should be interesting. We're gonna come back in a few days. We'll do a recap. See all the bad beats. See where the chips fell. Other than that, you got anything to add?
No, not at all. I'll be waving my terrible towel in your face hopefully come Sunday afternoon.
Can't wait. See you in a couple days.
Later.